It has been really interesting to try out War and Order and see two similar games side by side. Aside from the random War and Order drop-in visitors, most people watching this channel are familiar with the positives and negatives of Evony the King's Return. There are some things that Evony does well, but I thought it would be interesting to juxtapose the two games in some of the areas that I feel Evony the King's Return is lacking. There are many other areas in which one or the other game excel, but I've limited this list to only 6 topics to limit this video size. In doing the comparison, I think it may provide some perspective to people watching this channel of how different games deal with player concerns. First, I thought we would take a look at the concept of stamina. In Evony, stamina replenishes incredibly slowly. However, there is a decent access to obtaining stamina through events, buildings, and of course, purchases. In Evony, you rely on consumable stamina items to fill your stamina gauge and keep you running bosses as many hours a day as possible. Running endless bosses in Evony is a necessity as it is the primary source of speed-ups and a very high source of resources. In contrast, War and Order has stamina that naturally replenishes rather quickly. There are talents and technologies to further increase the rate at which it fills up. I find it difficult to constantly use all my stamina throughout the day because it just fills so quickly. The access to consumable stamina is less than that of Evony, but the need to farm endless bosses isn't there either. You'll dump most of your stamina into killing actual monsters individually as opposed to rallying bosses. You get less rewards than Evony bosses, but the trade-off is that you aren't enslaved to your phone trying to join every boss rally. You can log in at your times and dump your stamina into killing monsters and event bosses. In fact, you can even use a search feature to quickly find nearby monsters that you can kill without having to spend hours scrolling the map. In addition to this, you can also purchase a time-limited feature that acts like a monster-killing bot. Yes, they put the bot in the game itself. It's not a huge advantage like a bot in Evony. It's more a time-saving feature to make it easier on the player. Second, let's talk about the pacing. In Evony, getting to Keep 25 is a breeze if you are in an active alliance. It can be done in very little time due to the fact that bosses drop so many speed-ups and resources that the keep levels just fly by. It's actually quite fun to grow at this pace, but eventually you hit a brick wall. Costs of buildings increase dramatically and the time required as well. The pacing changes so much that it can be a very hard transition for players that just don't understand why they aren't progressing anymore. War and Order functions a bit differently. The pacing of the game seems to be much slower. You aren't likely just going to rush castle level after castle level, at least not to the same degree as in Evony. This is mostly due to the differences in how speed-ups are obtained in the game. Expect to spend more time at each castle level working on research and other buildings as you get stronger. I think it's probably pretty similar to how Evony was when it first started. Bosses were limited to a maximum of 10, and event bosses just didn't exist yet. Growth was slow and tedious, but it really allowed you the opportunity to familiarize yourself with the game. That's kind of how War and Order feels. It's definitely a slower growth pace, but that slow pace isn't necessarily a bad thing. It allows me to enjoy many different aspects of the game rather than just grind all day. Third, what's really interesting to me are the battle mechanics. Evony's battle system has always been a sore point for me and so many others. You can speculate and never really know what's really going on. The lack of transparency can be very frustrating, especially when you spend money on the game. War and Order is a lot more straightforward. The battle reports are well organized and detailed. You can actually watch the battles to see what units attack what unit and how the battles play out. You can go through your alliance war logs and watch the defense or attacks of others in your alliance. It's such a cool feature and one of my favorite things about the game. Fourth, what I really do like about Evony battles is how fast they can be. The speeding into rallies and rushing to attack the enemy is absolutely thrilling. The PvP system in War and Order is much more different than you might expect it to be. Rallies are capped not only by the number of troops the rally lead can hold, but also by a number of players. This cap starts at 5 and increases as your alliance works on specific alliance technology. Our current cap in TMS after almost 2 weeks is 11 players in the rally. Marches can be sped and PvP can be done in a similar thrilling way as Evony, but I haven't seen a lot of that yet. I'm assuming it's mostly because the server's fresh and there's no active competition going on that requires speeding. There are a few really interesting ways that battles work in War and Order that really caught my attention. Say an alliance wants to rally a castle. They don't necessarily have to set a 5-minute rally and launch it. They can, for sure, but there's another interesting way it can be done. Players can coordinate the timing of attacks to have their solo marches land within seconds of each other on that same target. The solo marchers will join together in a similar way to how a rally has multiple attackers. It's so neat to see lines from different directions all land on the same castle for one of these timed attacks. Fifth, recovery is one of my biggest qualms about Evony the King's Return. It bothers me so much that a player that has spent years of their time in addition to whatever money they spent can lose this all for any number of reasons, such as real-world issues, internet outages, latency, glitches and bugs, or even just plain old PvP. There's absolutely no recovery in Evony. Some people might love that aspect of the game. The fear and adrenaline you get from risking your account might be exciting to people, until it's not. I've always said that the simplest solution to fixing this problem is just to have buildings like the hospital and the bunker be percentage-based rather than static numbers. Simple changes can have a big impact on the recovery of a downed kingdom. It's a shame to see players zeroed and just quit the game. It's a war game and there should be war, but the warring shouldn't mean the end of the game for one of the players. All we end up with are players hiding under bubbles and eventually dead servers where the remaining people have no one to play with. In War and Order, and this is only from the limited experience I have so far, the hospital capacity is very similar to Evony's in function. A static number affected by your medic tents and hospital are what determine the amount of wounded you can take in. Because multiple buildings affect this number, it seems significantly higher than that of Evony's hospital. I don't know what the end game capacity is like because I'm nowhere near there, but what I do know is that the amount of killed units on both sides seems quite a bit lower. What's even more interesting is that dead units are useful even in death. Their souls become a type of currency used to train angels, which are a fairly powerful short-ranged unit. Certain PvP events in War and Order are also designed in a way that you will not lose troops. For example, the current event in-game right now has players contesting buildings on the map for points similar to buildings in server versus server in Evony. In War and Order, attacking or defending the buildings do not cause wounded or dead troops. It gives players of all sizes an opportunity to get their feet wet with PvP as opposed to hide under a bubble. Arguably, the biggest difference between the two games is the implementation of quality of life features. A quality of life feature is a simple design alteration to make playing the game easier. For example, say you have to click 50 boxes of Alliance gifts. Rather than open each one individually, you would just click an Open All button. Evony has some quality of life features, such as in the collection of the Dawn of Civilization and Advanced Journey chests, but that was only added recently. When cultivating, there's a quality of life feature to do 10 cultivations at a time, though you can only do that with gems. Some aspects of the game allow you to create presets, but those presets either cost gems to use or are limited by VIP to encourage people to spend. In War and Order, there are quality of life features everywhere. There is a search feature to find the monsters and bosses you need. Everywhere that you have to click rewards or gift chests, there's a claim all feature to save time. There are free presets for Lord skills, March presets, equipments, and whatever else. Even using items is easy. Say you have Lord experience or gems of various sizes. Instead of clicking max for each stack, you can just click the use all to use all similar items. those million stacks of material or boss chests that you have to constantly open for each level, one button press and you've got it all done. You save so much time skipping past the repetitive clicking that you can actually focus on enjoying the game. So what can we take from all this? Evony is a good game, but it's been declining in quality this last year. The major problem with the game is that all the new features and updates that are introduced are entirely about getting people to spend rather than actually improving the quality of the game. They have a lot that they can learn from games like War and Order that are much better at introducing player-friendly mechanics and tools. A lot of the people watching this video only play Evony, but you lose nothing by branching out and trying new things to see what else is out there. It helps to provide some perspective, but more than that, it's really fun to start out with a community of people from a similar origin. Join us on server 1550 by clicking the link in the description or pinned comment and apply to one of the Miser Swarm alliances.
Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on the Miser's Guide to Evony. I'll see you in the next video.